All right, so action-packed show, but let's start with Naukri Ki Baat. Now, yesterday we told you what you should be doing, what should be your toolkit to study abroad, and today let's take that a step further. If you've been dreaming about getting a job in one of the top tech companies in the world, what should be your approach? Now, Satya Nadella has just revealed what it takes to land a job at Microsoft and several such tech firms. Under his game-changing leadership, remember, the company soared past Apple to become the most valuable company in the world. So what exactly is that secret sauce?
So Nadella has emphasized a blend of soft and technical skills, and he has a very strong focus on the need for any employee to adapt and to show a versatility. For tech junkies eyeing a spot at Microsoft, he says that a well-rounded skill set isn't just a bonus, it's the entry point. It's the essential thing you're going to need. So let's just take a look at what he listed out as the qualities that he wants to see. He said number one, and this has been a big focus for Microsoft over the last few years, he said the need to understand cloud expertise and the need to possess AI, artificial intelligence, and data literacy. Those are two very, very important skills.
In fact, there's a whole list of it, and let's take you through that also now, because it's not just about hard knowings and coding, etc. It's also about soft skills. The third one on his list is actually willingness to learn and adapt, basically showing agility at work. He also talks about focus on consumers, know your TG. He's also sort of put in a lot of effective communication and collaboration on the table, saying that is absolutely essential. Also saying that embracing a growth mindset, knowing where you are today will not take you where you want to go tomorrow, that is also essential.
That was my favorite one. Okay, he's also listed out the need to be resilient, to be adaptable to changing situations. He said the importance of taking an initiative in every day, to have a problem-solving mindset always, and building relationships and trust with your other team members, supporting the growth of obviously not just yourself, but also looking out for everyone else in your team. That's also a crucial skill.
So that is the list that Satya Nadella has actually put out. But while it looks really nice on paper, the question is, how do we apply it in our careers? How do we know where to pick up these skills from? Clearly, they're not being taught in a classroom. So we thought we'll bring in Shantanu and Deepa both on the program to sort of understand this and try and see कि इसको apply कैसे करते हैं life में, right? So Shantanu Rouge, he is the founder and CEO of Team Lee's EdTech, and Deepa Premkumar, partner at Flintock. Deepa, let me start with you. We have been focusing over the past decade, or in fact half a decade or so, on soft skills. But if you were to look at this list that Satya Nadella has actually put out, it's a very beautiful blend of both. You got to know how to do the job, but you also need to know how to work with colleagues. Both of them being married together in this very digital world that we stay in. What is the takeaway for you? And importantly for me to understand, and a lot of our viewers to understand, कि इसे लाइफ में अप्लाई कैसे करते हैं? कोई क्लासरूम में तो पढ़ाएगा नहीं है.
Absolutely. And Sonal, like you said, Satya Nadella has called out two parts, which is soft skills as well as the hard skills. But Satya Nadella has also called out a third part, which he's calling adaptability. And if you just take a step back and look at how work has changed, just take a minute to think about how work has evolved. When we started with the Industrial Revolution, right? When we all worked in factories, all you needed to know was, how do I get that job done? I just needed the functional hard skills. I didn't need to work with anyone. Then work changed to become the services industry. The banking came, the hospitality came, the hospitals came. So I needed to know my job, the functional hard skills, but I also needed soft skills. I needed to be able to communicate with someone. I needed to understand the person. I needed to collaborate. Today, we're in the digital era. We're in the cloud, we're in the AI era. And that is where a third key skill has got added. You need the functional skills, you need the code, you need the soft skills, but you also need a change orientation or a change skill. That, what he means by that is you need to be able to adapt to things as they change. This era changes very, very rapidly. Your skills get outdated in 18 to 24 months, which means that you need to have the ability to constantly adapt, be resilient to change, and be able to go for it. Right? That's where I would place that. And your second question All this is
Interesting.
fine, but how do I live it? Nobody runs a course on this. Nobody teaches me how to go about it, right? So the second part, we all learn from our experience, but we don't learn it equally. This change capacity, this adaptability is what we learn on the job. And I'll give you three simple examples on what we can do to learn these skills. And I do this work and I see leaders make this common mistake. They're faced with a situation and they go with muscle memory. Last time I got promoted, I did this. Last time I was in this image position, I did this. And they repeat. Leaders, people, employees need to be able to make sense, be present to what is this situation and not rely on just memory. That's one key skill, one key way that you can practice adaptability. Be present, really immerse yourself, read the room, understand what's happening. The second thing that people need to do is to frame it right. Many a times I've seen employees fall in love with their ideas and say, this is the answer to that problem. You're very definitive, saying this is how we'll solve. And in today's complex world, you need to be able to think in possibilities. Leaders will come and tell me, I know this problem, this is the solution, this is what will work. And your brain shuts down. You're like, she's figured it out, she'll do it. And there you bring in possibility. One tip that I give people is please use hypothesis. My hypothesis is that this will lead to that. So you are opening yourself to possibilities. Your mind is open to data and new experiences. So one, immerse yourself. Two, be less definitive. Just be open to possibilities and say, maybe this will work, maybe that will work. And the last one, Sonal, is how do you respond to a situation? Most employees, leaders love making plans. They love a detailed, every step listed out plan. And then when they go and implement it, they're faced with reality and they stick to their plan. They stick to how things are. And in today's era, for to building those adaptability change skills, you need to be able to keep a fluid plan and respond to what things are evolving. So one of the key skills there, we encourage leaders and employees is to build in iterations. Have a plan, but go ahead, try one part, see how it's responding and flex. I'm sure when you run the show, you have a plan and then you're watching the TRPs, you're watching things and you're constantly changing how you will run the next show. That's responding to a situation. So three things, be present, frame it, think in possibilities and not definitives. And the last one, how you respond, build in iterations, be open to changes that will come. Those are three things, practice it, and all the skills that you listed will come alive.
That's beautifully framed, Deepa. Let's just go to Shantanu to ask him something similar. Shantanu, one of the big themes Deepa was really touching on in her answer, and that we've seen take place in the world around us in just the last few years. Just a few years ago, the big thing that you wanted to go in learning was coding and programming. Everyone, it seemed, was becoming a programmer around us. I know a batch of students right now that is completing their college across the United States, across the UK as programmers. And simultaneously in the Twitter sphere, for example, you now hear people saying that AI has phased out programming as a job, that, it's going to be a job that in a few years will be obsolete. So like Deepa said, it feels as if, here was a new technology and just a few years later, we're already looking at questions of its existential existence. So I just want to ask you, Shantanu, in terms of the hard skills, because we've talked right now of the philosophical approach you almost want to have in your day-to-day. But in terms of the hard skills, because Satya Nadella does say you need some hard skills, you need to mix them with soft skills. What are the hard skills that we can tell young people entering the job market will last them 10 years? Are there any?
So such a difficult question to answer, actually. If you just reflect back on this entire thing, actually, it's not that the employers are being creative. Actually, their world is getting disrupted, started by COVID, accelerated by AI, and by digitalization. I think employers are staring at a lot of uncertainty at this point in time. And mark you me, this is not passing shower. This is climate change for the employers. This is going to be forever. Right? And in that situation, employers are looking for employees who can be creative, who can be adaptive. And adaptive is just not a mind condition. It's ability to showcase you being multi-skilled, you being able to be fit to multiple job roles, right? You need to be creative, you need to be innovative, you need to be experimental. These are the skill sets that employers know will last about a decade. Pick up any technical skill, pick up any hard skill. Nobody knows whether it's going to last a couple of years from now on, right? Who knew that a year back from now that the way Gen AI would possibly change the world for many different organizations, right? So today, if you look at it from today's perspective, yes, I think we heard about those three technologies. We heard about cloud, we heard about data, and we heard about AI. Those three are the hot topics. They look currently,
Yeah.
it's important, it's contextual, but I'm not too sure they're going to last. They're only three technologies last the entire decade. So since students and learners cannot actually be sure about which hard skills, then to be sure that their CVs are brimming with examples of a lot of soft skills, a lot of examples of work experience, which demonstrate productivity and resilience. If you look at it today, I come from a company who has hired one person every 5 minutes in this country over the last 10 years. And I've seen that over the last 10 years, employers' requirement are still those four basic things, the 4 R's: reading, writing, arithmetic, and relationships. They're the four things that employers are looking for. If you're good at that, everything becomes, it's manageable, it's compromisable.
Okay.
Right, right. If I can answer Toya's question slightly, I think there was a time when, about 10 years ago, if you wanted to flourish in any field, you needed 1 foot in technology. I think we're entering an era where you need 1 foot in AI. And if you don't have that, you'll miss out no matter what your field is really. That is something that more and more people are saying as well. But Deepa, can I come to you? And I have a slightly a question which a lot of people face as well. If somebody watching this show right now says that, listen, I'm a very passionate person, I am aggressive by nature, I'm somebody who brings so much to the table, I'm a go-getter. And them reading this list, they would say, boss, there's no place for me in the world. How do you adjust that? Where is the Lakshman Rekha between being absolutely aspirational and a go-getter, but also matching it up with perhaps what the culture of the organization is?
And you're asking a very pertinent question, and you change the qualities, but it will apply to all of us. And that comes from, this has worked for me in the past. Being an aggressive go-getter, being a passionate person has worked for me in the past. I have succeeded with it. So I will continue doing that in every situation that I'm put into. We don't pay attention to what's happening around me. Maybe aggression worked in my last role, in my last company, in my last team. But maybe the team today wants something completely different. So your ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn is going to be absolutely critical. Especially when people are successful, they hold on to it like a success formula. This has worked. I will repeat this every single time. That is where the problem arises. This has worked in that context. But in the situation I am in today, what do I really need? And therefore, how will I respond to it? Just being able to learn, unlearn, but again, relearn something else. And that's the whole resilience. That's the whole adaptability piece that we're talking about. So don't rely on a success formula that worked for you in the past and say, I'll use it everywhere and I have to be successful everywhere. Your success formula will need to adapt to the situation. And it's very simple. Just tune in. You'll find clues about what will work in this team, what will work in this office. And you demonstrate that. That becomes your new success formula until the situation changes again. You're constantly on that cycle.
Shantanu, can we almost ask you, the last few years we saw COVID take place as a country. And I just want to ask, in your answer, you were talking about the 4 things that you see employers look for again and again. Did COVID and going home and working from home and needing to learn how to deal with, sometimes not seeing your co-workers, now working from home has just become such a big part of a lot of tech companies in our country's culture. Are you seeing it mean that employers are looking for other skills too, apart from the big 4?
Yeah. So if you look at it today, today's world has changed post-COVID for sure. If you look at today, there's no premium for knowing something. In a world where Google knows everything, there's no premium for knowing something. Today's soft skills are rated higher than hard skills. Today, curiosity, for example, is rated higher than intelligence. Today, being consistently warm is rated higher than being hot and cold. It's today's intangible assets are valued more than tangible assets. I think the world is changing in that particular context today. Employers today want employees who showcase, for example, diametrical different skill sets. And some time back, Sonal was asking about that. They need employees who can show leadership at the same time show teamwork. They need employees who can the risk taking abilities but can also manage risks, for example. That course combinations like technology with psychology is becoming very important combination in today's times. I think today employers are looking at versatility, employees who can fit into multiple job roles. When you are uncertain about your own future, how do you plan for it? You can't plan for it, so you can just make sure that your employees are making sure that you're worthy of that. I think employers are looking for those skill sets in employees to make sure that they're resilient, they're competitive, they're outcome focused, they're highly productive, they're focused on consumer experience, and they're being, capital frugal as well.
All right then. Well, this seems like a bit of a master class. Fascinating chat with both of you. Thank you, Deepa and Shantanu, for all that insight. And clearly not the last we've heard of it clearly, right? So we'll come back and we'll keep this topic alive and try and see how we can focus more clearly. The world is getting more uncertain. Jobs are just, like we say, part of it. So get up for that.
But we're not done with the advice giving. We're not done hearing with experts on this topic itself. Let's bring you one more voice. So in today's ever-evolving job market, obviously staying competitive is very important. But how do you ensure you're the candidate that employees are looking for? We've talked a little bit about the importance of soft skills already. But what are different industries looking for? We thought we should bring you one more voice. This is Sonika Aaron. She's the founder of Marching Sheep, an HR firm renowned for its expertise in guiding professionals to success. Let's just hear what she had to say.
At one time when we would look for candidates, we would say we need to look for KSA, knowledge, skills, and attitude.
Yeah.
Days when I tell my team that we need to look for somebody, whether it is an intern or whether it is somebody who's working on a short, limited kind of a project or even a full-time employee, I say also check for capacity. Is there the capacity in this person to be able to deliver when the organization needs the person to deliver, to stretch, to be there, be available? When times are good, everything is hunky-dory, everybody is fine. But then every organization has a cycle. And that is when you need your people to be resilient, to be steadfast, to be able to think on their feet, to be able to ideate, to be able to innovate, right? And I think these are some of the things, some of the competencies which we need our the younger generation that is going to come into the workforce or just entering the workforce to really build. So any internship, small project that gets you closer to your goal, grab it. It doesn't matter. It pays more, it pays less. It is adding to your CV, number one. Number two, everything that you are doing, the world needs to know about it. So have an active presence on platforms like LinkedIn. I'm sorry, I'm not very technologically savvy, so I don't use Threads. I barely use Instagram or Twitter, but I'm very active on LinkedIn. And I find that there are a lot of professionals on LinkedIn who try and build their profile by putting articles over there, by sharing what they have done, by sharing their learnings of what they have done. Third, you need to attend industry events. This is something which is very, very important. And honestly, till such time, I kept on looking at my own learning as a separate chore which had to be done. and I had to take out time for it. It never happened. The day it became integrated into my day-to-day existence, trust me, I am learning and growing every day. Every day I learn something new. When I am working with my clients, every client is different. Their industries are different. Their problem statements are different. Their employee demographics are different. And hence the solutions that we have to design are different. And that teaches us something every day. When a client comes and says to us that we need to do something XYZ, and that is something which we have never done before, and we tell them that, listen, we've never done this before, but what the hell, we'll try, and clients like this honesty, and uh, we learn on the job and we deliver it.